Welcome back, everyone, to the Rockstar Real Estate Report. I'm Julie Oakes with the Results Group at Layer Realty Partners, and we have my awesome friends, Megan Hatch from Percy Law Group. She is my favorite real estate attorney, and Helena Allen from Allied Mortgage Group, my favorite mortgage lender extraordinaire. And we are at episode 7. And to the last episode, we were talking about the fun part, shopping, finding the property that you love. So today we're going to segue into making the offer. Very, might be intimidating, might be, ooh, here we go. This is getting real now. It's getting real.
Exciting.
We're putting money in and we're
Woohoo!
So when you find something you love, let's say we go to an open house on a weekend. You walk through the door, you walk through the home, you see everything. And when you can really envision yourself or your family living there, when you can envision the barbecues, the birthday parties, the Christmases, whatever, that's when you want to make an offer. And in a very competitive market, you want to make a decision pretty quickly. You don't want to sit on it because it might be gone. So once that's decided, you give me a call and we talk about, okay, what's the price? What are we going to offer? And then it's my job to do all the fun paperwork and draft the offer to purchase.
The joys of working in a city, people. The joys of working in a
city. And I'm on the other side of the city. That's fairly quiet. But after we decide on a price, then we talk about, okay, how much of a deposit are you going to put down? Depending on what part of the country you're in, you might do things differently. Where we are, typically you do a relatively small amount. We call it the EMD, the earnest money deposit. And that money, it basically binds the offer to let the seller know that you're serious, that you're a willing and able and ready buyer. And of course, I send a whole package with the offer, but we decide on what you're going to do for a deposit for the earnest money, and then what you're going to do for a deposit for the purchase and sale. Now that's in the state that we're in right now. In other states, they go straight to the purchase and sale, and different states do it differently. But regardless of what state you're in, there is a deposit that goes with the offer. So you get a check, you send me, usually we do a photo of the check and we send it with the offer to purchase. And here's a little tip, because when you're in the midst of things, not everything occurs to you, right? But when you're sending a picture of a check via text or email, no one needs to see your account numbers. No one needs to see your routing number. No one needs to see any of that. I see it too often in real estate, even from real estate professionals. They will, when I'm the listing agent, they will send me a picture of the earnest money check with all of their clients' account numbers. Big no. Cut them off, black them out, whatever you want to do. Nobody needs that information. There are too many people sitting around the world on their computers with nothing else to do in their lives except hack your information. So information. I protect your information as much as I can, but you should think of doing the same. Even though you're in an emotional, I can't wait to buy this house and all that stuff. But always protect your information. Please, please, please. Did you guys have anything to say about that?
I couldn't agree more. And honestly, people don't think of that. And in the world we live in, with how quickly people text everything, that's an important and very, great tip to share, because it's so quick to just send, but you really don't think about what you're sending, for sure.
It's not even just an identity issue. It's they're able with mobile deposits right now. I mean, they could even upload a picture of that check to their mobile deposit link and actually deposit your check. It's pretty crazy.
Wow. And see, not everything occurs to you, because that I didn't even think of that.
Yeah.
That is wild.
Yeah.
Julie, can I ask, because I get that question on my end all the time, what happens to the deposit? What is the specific information that you share when people are making an offer? What happens to that deposit?
Typically, not always, it depends on the situation, but typically when we send the offer package, the offer package will contain our relationship disclosure. It will contain the offer to purchase, earnest money deposit. It will contain, if there's a lead disclosure, it will contain that. And what else am I forgetting? I know I'm forgetting something. But it contains many, many documents that have to be sent along with an offer package. And then once the offer is accepted, generally the listing brokerage, from listing and selling is basically the same thing. Okay. The listing side represents the seller, the current homeowner from whom you are trying to purchase the home. Okay. And the agent's company who is listing the home holds on to that earnest money, deposits it in their escrow account. And if Megan, could you, or Helena, do you guys want to explain exactly what an escrow account is?
Sure. So basically the escrow account is like a third party holding account. So essentially the escrow gets deposited into this third party account so that the buyer can't touch it and the seller can't touch it. And it's essentially being held to ensure that the closing happens. And once the closing happens, that money can be released. And that money is released essentially to be applied towards the purchase price. So it would essentially reduce the amount that the buyer would need to bring to closing. One thing that I just want to kind of add to it, and Helena, maybe you can add your bits on this, and this probably will be its own episode, but I just want to reiterate that the deposit does not mean down payment. The deposit is just an amount to essentially show the seller that you are a ready, willing, and able buyer. And not only that, it actually binds the contract. It's what we call consideration for the contract. That is not your down payment. So when Helena is running your numbers and says, oh, we're going to put 5% down, 10% down, that down payment is not your deposit. The down payment, which seems silly because you think you're going to put it down at the time of the contract, that actually doesn't get paid until the closing, if that makes sense. So I just want to reiterate that down payment and the earnest money deposit are two different things.
Totally agreed, Megan. And we talk about this with clients all the time. The required down payment is just that. It's the required down payment. The deposit is totally separate. It shouldn't be confused. People do that all the time, and we keep clarifying it just to make sure. Sometimes we get the, oh, I thought this is how much I need to put down because that's the down payment. Nope. And I know Julie's excellent at explaining that to her clients, the difference, because we have these conversations all the time, but people do get confused. So it's just part of our upfront conversation always.
Yep.
It is. And I'm so glad you brought that up, Megan, because it's a really, I had that in my head as I was saying the word deposit that we should, differentiate. But it is really important because, Helena, we've had these conversations, especially regarding veterans, because veterans have this benefit of this financing that they can obtain. And Helena can say, you can explain a little more about it, but that there is the confusion between the deposit and the down payment, right?
Absolutely, absolutely. And with the veterans, and probably for a totally different segment, there's huge benefits with that loan program. They can put as little as no money down, but obviously that's a totally separate situation than with you. You still need the good faith deposit, so the
Right.
seller knows it's a serious, consideration.
Yep.
So, yeah.
It's
Right.
that pick me.
Right,
And
exactly.
taking off of that, what you just said, Megan, that pick me, which is what we're doing right now in this very, very competitive market. I always think visually, and I know it's aging me, but it reminds me of that old show in the 70s, Welcome Back, Kotter.
Remember that show?
There was this character, his name was Arnold Horshack.
Oh my God. That was a good show.
Yeah, it was. But when you're in a competitive market, your deposit can really, if you have the ability, your deposit can actually make the difference between
Yes.
offer being accepted or rejected. And
Yep.
one of the ways I've had success during the competitive COVID market, if my clients can afford it, a higher down, if you can afford putting a deposit that's higher than the minimum, it speaks very loudly to a seller and especially in a multiple offer situation. When I'm on the listing side, that's been the differentiating factor between offers sometimes is, well, this person's down payment is significantly higher than the others. So it gives the impression that you are more well qualified than other buyers.
If I can just spitball off of that, the reason why is from a seller's perspective, the remedy in case of a breach, which we're not going to happen, right, guys? We're going to get to closing.
Exactly.
Of course.
The remedy for a breach, if closing doesn't happen, the seller keeps the deposit. So in the seller's mind, if they see a lower deposit next to a higher deposit, and there's any question that maybe this closing won't make it to the closing table, they're going to want to work with someone who is put more skin in the game and is more likely to work to get that deposit back and get to the closing table.
Exactly. Yep. Absolutely.
Excellent.
But with that being said, you guys too, and I know Julie is, great with this as well. I mean, every deposit obviously is somebody's skin in the game, no matter what the amount is. And everybody is in a different situation. And I know Julie advises them in the best of ways what's realistic, what's affordable to them, but more importantly, to make sure that from the beginning of the journey, they are well qualified, they are pre-approved, they've got everything that they need in, so that no matter what the amount is and what the risk is for this person, there should be no question that it's done all in good faith. They are ready, they're good, they're prepared, and they're going to be moving forward.
Yeah. And that's not to say that this is the only factor. Like if you have only, a smaller amount to put down, that you're not going to win the offer. It sounds like the next segment we'll talk more about the other, factors that make an offer strong. But, quick closes, there are other things that make a offer strong. So it's not that it's just going to fall on the amount of deposit that you give.
Absolutely.
No, that's just one of many factors.
Exactly.
Absolutely.
Very good point as well. I apologize because I did not start my clock until into it, so I don't even know how long we're going. So that's, you know what? We're being real here. So,
Yep.
okay. So
Absolutely.
I wonder, maybe we should continue the conversation in the next episode. What do you guys think?
Yes,
I think
absolutely.
so. Yeah.
Because
That's a good
I
topic.
think we should delve into those other factors and how we try to mitigate any difficulties or any chances of rejection.
Perfect.
Yep.
Okay.
Sounds good.
All right. Thank you so much again, everyone, for joining us for the Rockstar Real Estate Report. Can't wait to see you next time for episode. Let's see. Okay, I'm losing track now. For the next episode.
Bye, everyone.
Bye.
Thank you, Megan and Helena.